So we got another race for Texas representatives, and we gonna call this the battle of the HBCUs. We got Dutton Jr. versus Davis. Davis is coming for the throne. So Dutton Jr., which is my representative, let's see what he stands for. Didn't have much burst on policy, but we're gonna see a little information about him. So he was first elected in 1984. He is one of the longest serving members of the Texas House of Representatives. He is endorsed by a lot of people. He is endorsed by the police. He is endorsed by the Hispanic Journal. He's endorsed by the Small Business Administration. He's endorsed by the African American Chamber of Commerce. So in the pros, he is the incumbent. Usually the incumbent who's already serving, he usually wins, and he has experience, and like I said before, he is endorsed. Now let's go to Davis. He didn't have much for his policy, but I put a lot of notes in. He was a teacher. He is a founder of a nonprofit called Make It Better. He's currently serving as a Houston council member, and during his time as a council member, he has created a new initiatives providing funding for educational opportunities with after school programs, and also he supported the development of youth summer jobs. That's excellent because the youth need a lot of jobs. And his pros, he is a challenger with a good record and a good heart. That's what I put in because I like what he did for the youth. Next up, we have a battle for Texas State Representative between Eastman versus Shaw. So we got Eastman. She follows the standard Democrat platform. So what she has different is she rails against guns. She is one big on gun control. And she also is worried about redistricting. But now she is currently the incumbent. She is the state representative. Man, I don't know what's going on, but a lot of people coming for these incumbents on the Democratic side. I don't know what's going on, but I just know I'm here for it. So let's move on to her opponent, Shaw. So Miss Shaw, she follows most of the Democratic policies. But I put in a note, she did not mention guns at all. In the great state of Texas, she did not mention guns at all. Next up, we have the race for the Texas judge. We're talking about the Court of Appeals between Kraft and Thomas. First, we're going to go to Kraft. Now, judges, they can't have any policies because they're supposed to be impartial. And they're supposed to interpret the law as they see it. Not have an opinion, but interpret the law as it is written. But I did put some notes in here. Mrs. Kraft, she has been licensed since 2003. She has practiced civil law, criminal law, family law, and federal law. As she is elected, she will become the first black person to be elected to the 14th Court of Appeals in Texas. She is a Houston native and she went to Forest Brook High School. Now we go to her opponent, Miss Thomas. Miss Thomas has been practicing law for 15 years. She has worked on hundreds of civil cases. She has also done about 25 criminal appeals. She believes that judges should educate the community about the justice system. And she also is a Houston native. Definition time. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the United States of America. We also have a Supreme Court in Texas. Below the Supreme Court, we have the Court of Appeals. Below the Court of Appeals, we have district courts. And we have two types of courts. We have criminal court and we have civil court. If you get caught speeding down the highway and an officer give you a ticket, you go into criminal court. But if somebody sue you, you go into civil court. And also, we have a position called the Justice of the Peace. The Justice of the Peace is the lowest elected official in a city. Technically, they are a judge, but the official is not required to have a law degree or be an attorney. In many small rural towns, everybody doesn't have a degree. So what they do, they elect a just and righteous elder of the community usually. Anybody can apply to be on this ballot to be a justice of the peace, but you are required to take classes on law and other things. Next up, we have the race for the Texas District Judge between Thornton and Smoots Thomas. First up, we have the challenger, Miss Thornton. As I said before, judges cannot have positions because their job is to interpret the law as it is written. But we do have a couple of notes. On her website, she did write, she has been in public service for over 30 years and she has earned the trust and respect of the community. She served as a general counsel for Texas Southern University, and she was the Assistant Attorney General for the state of Texas. Also, she has been endorsed by the Baptist Ministers of Houston, and she has been endorsed by the Bay Area New Democrats and many others. Next, we have the incumbent Smoot Thomas. And she doesn't have a website, but I put some notes in there. She was suspended from the bench because she had a case that she had 7 counts of wire fraud. Corey, did you say wire fraud? Yes, I said wire fraud. Man, she's scamming. Like, she's scamming, like, out the courthouse. Like, it's right there. I got my sources, KHOU and law.com. I can't make this stuff up. So this is the perfect example why we need to research who we are voting for. Just don't vote for people because they have name recognition. Just don't vote for people because they have a certain letter by their name. We need to know who we voting for. Because as you see, some of these people who run for office, they've been charged with crimes, unfortunately. So we have another race for a Texas District Judge between Bell and White. First up, we have Miss Bell. We're going to go straight to the notes because she's running to be a judge. So first thing she says, she wants people with criminal histories to be linked to employers willing to give them a chance. Also, a judge should not depend on how much money you have, who you are, or who you know. I definitely agree with that. And also, she says, allocate more resources to mental health. And some of her pros, she has criminal law experience and she is endorsed. We have Mrs. White. Mrs. White says, I am the most qualified candidate for the position. When elected, I will serve the community with dignity, respect, integrity, and fairness. Her pros, she has a very diverse law experience, but she doesn't have much criminal law experience. Next, we have the Texas County Commissioner race between Moore and Alexander. Now is definition time. The county commissioner is responsible for roads and bridges within their precinct and policy making budget decisions. First up, we have Mr. Moore. He has many issues he wants to talk about. Flood mitigation, expanding access to health care. He wants to have clean air and clean water. He wants more transit and transportation solutions. He wants the government to be transparent, more community engagement. and he wants us to have a better emergency preparation. One note I put in here, this is a very tight race, and I want y'all to really pay attention to this race when I bring out these details. So based on who Mr. Moore is endorsed by, he's endorsed by the business-minded organizations. Houston Chronicle, the Harris County Tojas Democrats, and another business-type organization. Now, we go to Mrs. Alexander. She doesn't have any issues that she wants to discuss, but pay attention to who she's endorsed by. So, Miss Alexander is endorsed by the caucus. She's endorsed by Our Revolution, and she's endorsed by Black Lives Matter Houston. So, the caucus is a LGBT plus organization. Our Revolution is a very progressive socialist organization, and Black Lives Matters is an organization that supports LGBT rights. And hey, don't get triggered. I'm just telling you, based on what that page is talking about, it may have a little instance talking about police brutality. But if you look at their about page, you will see their values are not Christian values. Their values are anti-Christian values, and they're very progressive and very supportive of the LGBT plus agenda. I just want to let y'all know that. So let's continue. Oh, one last thing. And she from California. Next up, we have a race for Texas Constable between Diaz and Garcia. Now it's definition time. We're going to be talking about law enforcement officers. Sheriffs are law enforcement officers, and they also are the elected officials. A sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer of a county. They are empowered to enforce criminal and civil law. Duties are similar to constable, and they must be a licensed peace officer. Constables are also empowered to enforce both criminal and civil law. They are also elected officials. Constables may serve arrest warrants anywhere in Texas. They serve warrants and civil paperwork such as subpoenas and temporary restraining orders. They also may serve as a bailiff in a court, and they must be licensed peace officers. So, police officers, like we have with our Houston police officers, they are not elected officials. They must have a license to be a police officer, and they are empowered to enforce criminal law and traffic law inside their jurisdiction. Okay, now we're going to get back to this race. Diaz, he doesn't have a website. So I found some of his information from the website of the constables. Well, both of these guys are going for the same position in Precinct 2, which covers the southeast part of Harris County that includes the Ship Channel. So I put in my notes that this is a very tight race, and the website said Diaz believes in giving back to the community and is committed to building a department where the citizens can be proud of the department and trust in the department. Also, I put in there that he owns a real estate business. He was a former city council member, and he was a former mayor also. And the pros is he is an incumbent. So now we go to Garcia. Garcia actually has a website. He's a 21-year veteran in law enforcement, and he also holds a Master Peace Officer certification. Okay. He comes very highly endorsed. On to the next one. Next, we have another race for Texas Constable between Eagleton and Jones. We're gonna start with the incumbent, which is Eagleton. So Eagleton has a website and he listed a couple programs. He listed the first program was the crime unit to focus on heavy crime areas and organized crime. Also, the emergency management response team, the environmental crimes team. Also one that I really like is called the Are You OK program, which checks on seniors who live alone. And I put this note in. Basically, this guy won the race already, but he was unable to get 50%. But this guy's at 47%. So he basically won. But he still got to race and play by the rules. He got to get over 50%. Now we go to Jones. Jones don't even have a website and he only got 16%. So let's move on. The next race is also for Texas Constable. We have Newman versus Harrison. So Newman, I can't even find a picture of him. He don't have no website and I couldn't find no information on him. And Harrison, I was able to find a picture of him in a website, but he doesn't have no policy. But one thing I saw is who he's endorsed by. He's endorsed by the caucus. I told y'all about the caucus. And he's endorsed by the Texas Progressive Executive Council. Okay, on to the next one.